Wait a minute. Why is that so blurry? Oh no. So, pretty common problem on high mileage LSs. You'll see the words are clear, obviously, but the actual image is very blurry and distorted. So we got a special treat to fix that. We'll get to it after the transmission flush though, so keep watching and we'll show you how to fix this. Alright, we're moving right along on the LS here. So we're doing the trans drain and fill. It's a little tricky with the quote-unquote sealed transmissions, but I'll show you how to do it. So according to the parts diagrams, this longer hard line is the outlet. So this is pressure coming from the transmission to the radiator, driver's side. Then it's cooled, and that comes out this side. I did verify that by cranking the car, and fluid came out. So I know we're on the right track. These cylinders are 70-ounce containers. I got 4 of them for 20 bucks on Amazon. What's going to happen here, we also have our WS fluid here. We've got 12 quarts. I don't know how many we're going to use, but so essentially what's going to happen is we are going to run the car. It's going to pump out old fluid, and we are going to pick a number here, maybe 1 quart, maybe the full 2 quarts, I don't know. Shut the car off. Okay, we've got more of these. We've got a couple more. Then we're going to fill a clean one with clean fluid. Once that's done, here they are. So we're going to fill a clean jug, the same amount that we take out. And then we got this handy dandy OMT fluid pump here. This is going to help us get the fluid back into the transmission. This thing I think was like 50 bucks on Amazon, something like that. Essentially what happens is we are going to pour clean fluid, new fluid, into this hole. So fill it up with 2 quarts, however much we take out. And then this end is going to hook up to the Toyota specific part right here. So ATF-113 is the extension. This is 18 by 1.5, I believe, hopefully. And this is going to screw right into the transmission. And then we're going to pump fluid in. Now, quote-unquote sealed transmission is because it's not really sealed. That's kind of a misnomer. I don't know why they say that, because it's not true. So here you'll see on the bottom you've got your drain bolt here. That's where you drain. You'll probably get 1.5 quarts or 2 quarts out of here. And then here's your check hole. So when the transmission temperature is 120 degrees, roughly 115 to 130 degrees, you're going to open this hex bolt, and there's a tube in there, and whatever fluid comes out, that is topped off, so you know you're at the right level, if that makes sense. There's a tube, and let's say there's like 2 inches of fluid, so there's 2-inch tube under here, and then fluid under that tube is going to stay in the pan, fluid over is going to come out. But it's important, you can only do that when the trans is up to temperature. So, sealed transmission. Underneath you'll see this plastic piece here. There's 2 10mm bolts. I already took them out. And let me get another light here. Okay, so here's our plastic cover. I've already kind of pried this off, but it appears that this has never been taken off before, which is shocking. But it looks like no one's ever been in here, which doesn't make sense to me, but I'll just leave that alone. There's no way this is the original fluid, but I've seen stranger things. So here is your fill plug right there. That's where our part's going to screw in. It's got that little 90-degree bend down. So we're going to fill it here, and the other way of doing this obviously is you can drain the pan whatever comes out, that's what you put back in here. But doing it that way, you're not flushing out all the fluid that's in the system. When you crank the car over, start the car, it's circulating all old fluid out. And there's no real way to, I mean, there is a way to mix the fluids, obviously, but once you'll see red fluid coming out of the drain up here, and that's when you know you've basically pushed out all the old fluid, and you finally made it to the new fluid. That's why this takes, you know, roughly 12 to 16 quarts of over and over and over. So you've got to do this 6, 7, 8 times, 70 ounces. So, oops. I think that's the better way of doing it, because you're essentially putting only new fluid in the pan, and then everything else is getting pushed out forward. So eventually the pan stuff will get out forward. But we will set up the camera, and then I'll show you exactly what's going on here and what we can fill up. Well, as you can see, I miscalculated. That happens often. So it looks like the shorter pipe is the trans outlet. So I'm going to clean up this giant mess I just made, and we're going to try that again. This time we're going to hook up the hose on this side, or the other side, because this hose itself, oops, I just spilled even more. This hose isn't really long enough to get into a jar, so I'm thinking I either take this other half of the hose off the hard line, which might be easiest, and then I'll just leave this side alone entirely. Oh gosh, I'm an idiot sometimes. I'm trusting the parts diagram. It said it was the outlet. Okay. In their defense, they were probably talking about the radiator side, not the transmission side. So when they say outlet, they actually meant outlet of the radiator, not the transmission. So I was backwards. So we've got the hose now hooked onto the correct line, the shorter hard line coming out of the trans, and we've got that line going into said jug here. So now we will commence. Essentially what we're going to do is just like I said before, turn on the car, let it fill up, shut the car off, and then we'll go on to the filling stage. So let me wash my hands because I've cleaned up all the stupidity off the ground, and then what I do, we'll get started. Alright, round 2. Here we go. Okay, I think that's a good level. So we're going to be right at 60 ounces, maybe more. But we don't want to run the pan out of fluid so it sucks air. So I think this is probably next time we'll go a little bit lower, maybe 40 ounces, 45. So we'll let that finish doing its thing. Could this be original fluid, 360,000 mile WS fluid? It's possible. I don't know how else they'd fill it. I mean, typically the fill plug's the only way you can get it in, unless they somehow filled it through the service port, but I don't know. Okay, sorry about the light. It's very important you get the right socket first. This is a shorty 24 millimeter 3/8. That's the only way you're going to get on that fill nut, and then also get a ratchet on there. So very important. Okay, this should do it. Well, that was uneventful. There we go. That was kind of muted by the fact that everything was falling and clunking. Now, obviously, be careful, because once you take the bolt out too much, you're not going to be able to get your socket out also. That is a problem. You really need like a slim head 3/8 ratchet too. Oh, there we go. That worked. Okay, so you can see this actually has an O-ring on there. There's no crush gasket per se, so this just seats kind of like that. And then, as I was mentioning, here's your fill thing, and it looks like we are coming into contact with the heat shield a little bit. Let's move that out of the way. There we go. Okay, it's not tight though. I wonder if that's a problem. Probably not, because it is just a fill. So okay, so now onto here is where we would hook up our pump apparatus, and conveniently there is a valve right here, and this would basically obviously shut off flow, and of course the line isn't long enough, so I need to put the pump on something. Okay, that goes like that. I need to find a box or something to set this pump on. Oh yeah, look at that. Okay, we got a clean cylinder here, filled up to 60 ounces. It looks really good. It looks like cherry juice compared to the old stuff here. Look at that. It's not black. It's more of like a dark brown. So I've had 100,000 mile LS460 fluid look like that, so it's not too concerning. Okay, so let's try not to spill any of this. I might, but this red fluid then goes in here, and hopefully there's enough capacity. Looks like there is. To take all this stuff. And this is it. This is like your procedure for the next hour, or however long it takes you to do this. But that's okay. Funny story, one time I took my car to the dealer back in, I don't know, 2010 or so. I had a 04 LS. And I said, all the fluid's in the trunk. It was literally 2 cases, just like this. And I was like, you know, do the fluid flush, or the change or whatever. I came back like 2 hours later, and they only did 2 quarts. They're like, oh, we only usually do 2 quarts. And that was the last time I went to the dealer. Apparently they just drain the pan and then fill it. And even though I asked for this, they didn't do it. So I'm doing it the proper way. I'm showing you guys the proper way to get the majority of the fluid out, because I don't think 2 quarts in and then drive the car and then, you know, do it again is really it's just kind of pointless, because you're mixing that brand new fluid with old fluid, and it's getting circulated in the system. Okay, enough talking. So we're going to cap this off, and then what we're going to do here, I'm assuming we just pump it, and then, oh yeah, look at that. Ooh, it's going to go right in. So we pump, and it goes into the trans. Hopefully it does not leak out. I'm not seeing massive leakage yet. That's good. Okay, and then when we're done filling, we just close the valve so it doesn't all come back down again. But that's it. I'll sit here, I'm just gonna pump in all the new fluid. And this is like much less stressful than trying to fill it any other way. Because I've tried to do this other ways, like with a hand pump bottle, that little cheapo, something like, try doing this with something like that and see how frustrated you get after 12 quarts. So I'm gonna keep pumping and then we'll keep going. Okay, round 2, we're gonna call it 55 ounces because we lost some of that initial mishap. So here we go, 55. The next one I'll film again, so it looks exciting. Super nice. Get every last drop out of there. It's pretty cool. Alright, so we're going to shut that valve and go again, round 3. There she goes, filling up. Another 50 ounces or so, 55 maybe. So far, what is that, 150, 160, 160 ounces or so? Okay, balancing act here a little bit for the camera. So another 50, we're calling it 52, 53 ounces. So that's gonna go in here again. This is like the greatest invention ever. How did I do it any other way before? Who knows? I don't have any more stories, but I do have to do my GX right after this, because that's, I think, on original fluid, 130K. Same process on that thing. I'll do another video, I'm sure, for all the GX guys. Okay, that's good. Like so. Open the valve. Pump, pump, pump. I mean, that'll probably do half of it. Just the pressure in there already. So. Now you want to watch, eventually we're going to start to see this pink colored fluid coming out of our hose. That's a good time to stop. But like I said, typically like Toyota or dealerships or whoever, they're only going to do whatever comes out of the pan. You think they're going to really extra effort and drain like we're doing here? No. Maybe they'll do the same thing, drain the pan, fill it, run the car for a few minutes, drain the pan again, fill it. But again, that's kind of the defective way, in my opinion, because you're mixing new and old fluid. This way, like I said before, it's like a one-way path. It's got to go through all the passages, everything, and then eventually it gets spit out. So, we'll do it again. Alright, for all the people that say you gotta put it in like low, 2, drive, reverse, neutral, we'll do that now, just a cycle, but typically, I don't know, is it the same? Who knows? Okay, we actually didn't get that much fluid that time. I thought I was gonna overflow it. So I'll do that again quickly. Same thing, just rub through the gears. Alright. Good, good, good. Fluid is still actually a good way to test this. Grab a white paper towel, and it's starting to turn red a little bit. You definitely see some red, so we might be close here. Okay, another 65 ounces. Back in the trans. Fun times, fun times. And then I'm actually just putting this fluid back into the coolant jugs that we used the other day. And the garbage company or the garbage trucks pick that up free. Or you can take it to a parts store and they'll take all your waste oil and waste fluids. So that's pretty nice. You don't have to pay for it anymore. I remember back in the day you had to it was a huge process to get rid of old fluids. Alright, we'll do this again. See how close we're getting. Hopefully pretty close. Now we're just in park right now, but it's coming out pretty good, as you can see. Still pretty brown. Alright, well, I was getting hopeful. Maybe if you put it in gear, then it goes a different pathway or something, quicker through the transmission and out the radiator. So, looks like another 55 ounces are doing. So maybe we just proved the theory that if you leave it in park, it's actually better to get all the old fluid out. Because as soon as I... Oh, this is a fun part. Here, let me open the valve. As soon as I started going through the gears, we started getting cleaner fluid. So, I don't know. I'd have to study the pathway of the fluid through the torque converter and the valve body to see. When we went through the gears, we got more pink or reddish colored fluid, and when we left it in park, we're getting brown again. So I guess we're gonna go through all the 12 quarts. I'm pretty sure, because I only have 3 or 4 left after this. So we're pumping in the 55. I'm gonna drain that, and then we'll get ready for more. All right, we got to be getting close here. We just got to. A little reddish in there. A little red. Alright, at 50 again. Yeah, it's reddish. I see red. Look at that. That looks pretty good right there. I think I'm happy with that. So we're going to put in a final 50 ounces, and then I'll show you the procedure for the check valve, or the check drain port level, fluid level. Alright, so we did about 10 quarts. Could we keep going until it's basically the same color as what's going in? Yes. Would it be worth it? Could you tell a difference? Probably not. So we'll call it 10 quarts, 10.5 quarts, and go from there. Now we'll do that level check. Okay, now, very important, we always want to check for leaks. Make sure our hose is on good, clamp is holding, and it is. Nothing's coming out of the fill port. Good. Alright. Very important. I see stories of people just skipping the basics like that, and then their whole engine drains of oil, and then they're screwed. So, what we need to do now is, first, I'm gonna go through the gears, just to say I did. Because I know there's people out there that are going to say, well, you didn't go through the gears and circulate the fluid. I don't know if that does anything if you're not moving. Drive, neutral, reverse, park. Alright, we're going to use Techstream, but there is another method if you don't have Techstream or you don't have an OBD scan tool with your phone. So you connect the terminals, you basically jump CG and TC, so 4 and 13 on the OBD port. And then you need to move the shift lever back and forth between neutral and drive every 1.5 seconds for 6 seconds. So then, apparently the D shift indicator is going to come on for 2 seconds. That means the trans temp check mode has started. So basically we're looking for the 120 degrees. Then it looks like it'll come off and then it'll come on again when the temperature is at 115 and will blink when it exceeds 130. So you basically need it at 115, 120. If you have air suspension, here's that process. It's a little bit different. Yeah. So essentially same thing, except you have to do a little bit more to see it. And then we're going to hook up Techstream though. It's going to be... Alright. We've got our Mongoose cable here hooked up. I also found two secret switches down here that I'm assuming have something to do with that cluster problem they were having, to turn the cluster back on, I guess, or reset it somehow. I have no idea. Dealer did that, by the way. So here's our Mongoose cable. Now the Mongoose cable is $500. The ones you get on eBay are like 19 bucks. If you're just doing basic stuff on Techstream, you can use the eBay one, that's fine. But here, setup, you have to select your VIM, and that's your OBD device. So here you see Mongoose, and then I also have the X-Horse, which is the eBay version. So Mongoose, good, and connect the vehicle. But it's 2024. Like, you can get an OBD thing on Amazon or eBay for the same thing, like 20 bucks or something, 12 bucks. And you download the app on your phone and you can kind of read the same information. So here it auto pulls up what it is. We do have a smart key, and then we do not have laser or radar cruise. So we will go to next, and that's going to connect. But I'll show you how cool Techstream is. I really like it because you can do like data logging, live data logging and stuff. Is there a separate transmission computer? ECT. Okay, so ECT is transmission. So we're going to find the value that says what the temperature is, and then data list is what you want because that's going to show you all the data. And here's our transmission data. So we've got vehicle speed, engine speed, blah blah blah. What we're really looking for though is this AT oil temperature all the way on the bottom. So we're at 95 degrees. 95, yeah, 96. So we got to wait till that's 115, 120 before we do our level check. Make sense? Good. Something I forgot to mention, the Mongoose cable, the reason it's $500 is because all this information is in real time. So you can actually drive down the road and do real-world condition data logging, whereas you cannot do that on the eBay thing, and that's kind of the biggest difference. So right down here you have the record button that'll basically record all of this, so you can basically replay it, watch it back, and see where the problems are if you're having sensor issues, and it's all in real time. So that's the biggest advantage to the Mongoose cable. Also, if you're flashing the PCM, you definitely want to use the Mongoose cable or an actual real cable, not the eBay one, because you could fry your ECU or module. So keep that in mind as well. We're almost at 100 degrees, so we're getting there. 405, I don't know how long it's been, 5-10 minutes or so. Okay, this is a 5mm in case you're wondering. I recommend kind of using something to pick anything out of here. There could be dirt, there could be debris, just to get a good fit on your socket. Okay, that looks good. So typically I like tapping my tools in. Ensures you're not going to strip it. Okay, right now all we want to do is loosen that. You do not want to open it yet, because we're not there yet. Patience. I guess we'll leave that in there. Alright, if you can see, we've hit that magic number, 115.2 degrees. It's 4:17, so it took maybe 20 minutes of idling or so. It's hot out, so let's see what happens. Alright, so what we're going to do now is open this. I know this is very worrying and anxiety prone, because you're opening a plug on the bottom of the transmission pan when the engine's running, but you gotta trust the process here. So we're gonna open it, and if anything dribbles out, which there's not, we have to add some. So I'm gonna add half a quart to the fill plug. Alright, I actually have 5 ounces, so we'll see if that works. So we're filling 5 more ounces to the trans, and we're trying to get it to dribble out of this empty, this check valve basically, or this level tube, because then we know we're at the right level. So we got 5 more ounces in, and it's still not coming out. So we gotta add some more. I'm gonna grab another half a quart and add what I got. Okay, see, here we go. We're getting some action here. Actually up to 120 degrees. So it looks like we're pretty close. I've added 15 ounces. Just let this fill up here, and I think that's right where we need to be. And so the fluid in the pan is exactly, if you picture that tube going up, it's exactly at the top of that tube. There's just a tiny bit coming out of there. So let me just fill this rest of this. So we actually had to add about 15 more ounces. And taking into consideration how much we might have spilled initially, that makes sense. So that's it, we're done. I'm gonna put the plug back on, take it for a test drive, and we'll see how it feels. Does your camera look gray around the actual lens? Does the lens look brown? Does your car have over 200,000 miles, 300,000 miles? If so, we're gonna fix this. So as promised, we found a factory new, brand new backup camera on eBay for about 50 bucks. Even has the tape on it still. Let me pull this off here. So look at that lens. You can see the ring around the lens is black, and the lens itself looks like a brand new lens. So a couple things to remove to get this off, the old one at least. We're gonna have to remove some of this trim paneling. So let me grab some tools and then we'll get pulling. Okay, so we remove these little clips that are a nightmare with this tool. It's Toyota, like a clip removal tool. And we've swung down the right half of the carpet in the trunk, and here is the camera. So we got one plug here Here's where it plugs in, and then it looks like it has some weird, they're not screws, it's like some kind of plastic something, that little black square. So I need to see how that's secured, but then the camera looks like it just pops out. So let me try to figure out what those black things are. Alright, this is much more complicated than I thought. I had to take out this whole plastic piece here. Now would be a good time to check your license plate bulb, since this is all apart. But now we have access to our two 10mm bolts and the camera. And you can clean all this while it's apart. It makes sense. So I'll get those out and swap in a new camera. Okay, these were rusted, but they came loose no problem because they're just screwed into plastic retainers. So here's the old. And I want to make sure we put the new one in. It can only go in one way because this is obviously shaped a certain way. So this goes in like that. And it should clip in. Where are the clips? Well, I'll figure out this clippage, because the old one just kind of fell out. I don't want to break the new one. But, oh, there we go. Alright, she's in. I'm tempted to try it right now. And these are actually screws, not bolts. And I'm not even going to cover anything else, because this is just a bunch of 10mm nuts. So there's a little plastic clip on each end, be careful with that, and there's two yellow plastic clips in the middle. But primarily there's just 3 on each side, studs, and then the nuts. You probably want to clean these if you can take them apart. The taillight lenses, and then obviously the bulbs, don't forget those. So let's try it and see if it works. Okay, moment of truth here. Does it work? Oh yeah! Look at that. 2004 quality, but it is clear. It is no longer blurry. So I consider that a job well done. Test drive! Moment everyone's been waiting for. So my first thoughts are, get out of the sun, it shifts from D to R to park immediately. Like there's no delay, and before there was a little bit of a delay. Now it was smooth before, even before changing the fluid it was fine. But it's very smooth now. Like the downshifts are right dead on. Like there's just no delay or thought behind it. It just does it. So really, is it worth it? Was it worth it? Was there that big of a change? Not really. And you know, those things we looked at, was the fluid original? Was that fluid ever changed? I don't know. It did not seem like it to me, just because of that fill bolt. But let's do here we'll go from a stop, and then we'll just go through all the gears normally. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's like brand new. It's just like brand new. I got nothing else to say. Thanks for watching. See ya.